Well, good morning and hello. As usual, this is like my signature, isn't it? I come on my Facebook Live, I stroke my hair down. It's because I see myself and it's the first thing I think, gosh, my hair's a bit fluffy this morning. But anyway, this Facebook Live is not about me, it's about you. So what is the theme this week? So I call these Q&A Wednesdays because throughout the week, many of you approach me and ask me questions. Some of you will send me messages or emails. Sometimes they're clients that I've been working with who ask me questions. And ever so often, I notice there seems to be like a theme that comes up. And ever so often, I think to myself, you know what? If the answer to the question is useful for them, then it'll be useful for you too. So, as usual, I have my notes in hand. I'll look down. Now, I'm hoping that the Wi-Fi is going to be kind to me, but if for any reason you're watching this and anything untoward happens, please hold tight and I'll come back. Now, I plan to run for about between 20 and 30 minutes, depending on how many of you have got questions and want to ask things. And every now and then you might see me kind of do a funny look, put my hand up to the screen so I can see how long we've been running for. I want to honour your time. And remember that if you're not watching this live, you might be watching the recording of this. Please put any questions or comments just below this video and I will get to them. If you can tag me, brilliant. If not, no worries, and I'll keep checking back. I just don't want you to feel ignored or like you're not heard. So this morning, I wanted to share about how to share your work, how to share your events, whether it's workshops, whether it's retreats. It could even be that you're running an event. It could be that you're running a program or something online and you want to tell people about your event, the thing that you're doing, something that you're doing at work. So there are three major kind of ways we get stuck on this. So the first thing is that we want to share our event, and that seems pretty straightforward. But one of the first problems that we come across is the way we talk about the event. It could be from this point of view or the side that you don't know how to speak about your event. Maybe it's something unusual or different, or you're just not quite sure of the words to say. It could be that you don't know the best way to portray it and get it across to people. But that's okay because we'll look at that this morning. The second problem that people come across is like, how do I highlight my event? How do I let people know about my event? How do I get them to come along or get them to share it? Which is a third problem. How do I share it? Or how do I get my friends or people I'm connected to share it? Whether that's online or offline. So if you're watching and you're watching right now, please say hello and let me know when it comes to events or workshops or anything else like that. Have you done them before? Is it your first time or is it your umpteenth time, or are you somewhere in the middle? So have you done these workshops before? Have you shared them before? Let me know what your experience is, because what I'm about to share with you, whether you're a novice and you've never ever shared a workshop, event, a program or anything like that, or you've done it 101 times before and you're just looking for new and updated ways, if you like, and simple ways of doing this, let me know. Tap a comment in the box. I'd love to know. Let me know that you can hear me okay. I'd love to know that too. So while I wait for those comments to come through, I'll get started. So one of the first problems that often happens when it comes to sharing our event is we think we know how to talk about the event, and we do to some extent. And the reason why we do is because it's our event. It's something that we've created. It's our workshop. It's our online program. But here's one of the biggest things I see. Now, my background is in sales, so we were always told about features and benefits. So I came into self-employment in 2010 thinking, when I tell people about stuff, it's all about features and benefits. But here's what I've discovered over time as we start to realise that, we are sharing stuff that sometimes doesn't have a outcome that people might deem as tangible right now. For example, If I'm selling you this pen or sharing this pen, I can say to you, have a look at it, see if you like it, touch it, smell it, taste it, whatever you need to do. Whereas quite often when we're sharing our services or our products, maybe from a consulting point of view, maybe we're sharing about our book, maybe we are a coach, maybe we are a people helper of some sort, a therapist or something like that. I know that for many of you, you have a whole range in this tribe of very different things that you do. You know, there is someone in here that does hand analysis. There's someone else in here that helps people to sell their high-end packages and programs. There's those of you that help people with their lead generation. Some of you help people with their love life and finding the person that they want to be with. You know, there's people in here that, I think we've got a dance instructor in here still. We've got people that help with health and well-being. People like my good friend Anne Wilson, who helps people to build their financial freedom with money. We've got Helen in here, who I know helps people that are in a clinic or, you know, they're running a clinic or anything else like that. We've got Namisha, who's just popped on. Hello, Namisha. And thank you for sending the hearts. I love it. So Namisha, for example, helps really creative businesses, creative entrepreneurs. Predominantly, she helps them to get started and get out there, normally within their first 6 weeks. But ultimately, even if you are not a new creative business, she'll help you to take it from where you are now to where you want to be. How cool is that? Pretty cool, I'd say. So, hi, Namisha, and thank you. So, how do we share this stuff? How do we talk about the stuff? So there are ways in which we talk about it, ways in which we highlight it, and ways in which we share it. So I'm going to talk first about how we speak about it, because whether you do it offline or online, in the flesh or anything else, then there will be a way to speak about what you do. Now, going back to the features and benefits thing, so for example, I currently have a 5-week online program. Now, the details are over on my website, as usual, and I think the details are also in an event on here. So, quite often, I hear people say things like, I have a program coming up, it's 5 weeks long, you get 2 phone calls every week, you get support from me because I will call you if you need it, and you can email me if you need to, you get lots of nice workbooks and things like that. Now, no offence, even though it's my own course, and I have to say it's pretty damn good, it's pretty effective in the short space of time that you need to get yourself out there, that ain't compelling. Nobody wants to hear about how many calls they get and how many sheets of paper they get and that kind of stuff. What they want to know is the outcome. So here's what you look towards. To help you understand this, I'm going to share something that my mentor, one of my mentors, I should say, taught me around the outcome. Now, the example she uses is build the plane as you fly. And a lot of people take that to mean that you kind of make it up as you go along, act as if and all of that, but that's not true. Now, imagine this. Imagine that I'm about to give you a free, all expenses holiday paid to somewhere beautiful like the Seychelles, okay? And imagine that instead of telling you about what you could win, I say to you, this is so exciting. A car will pick you up and take you to the airport. At the airport, there's lots of shops and things to eat. And when you get on the plane, it's an Airbus 747. It has 4 seats, then 3 seats, then 4 seats, and it has lots of great staff on the plane that will help make your journey comfortable. How pants does that sound? I mean, you can hear it. It doesn't sound compelling. Now, that's me trying to describe the benefits in the way in which I hear a lot of people out there talk about their programs, products or services. But how much more juicy and compelling would it be if you said, you could win this holiday in the Seychelles? Imagine those white sandy beaches, the blue sky and the feeling of the sun bathing over your shoulders and your body, keeping you warm. You know, imagine being able to sip ice cold drinks in the hot sun. Imagine some of the beautiful things that you'll see and how you'll feel at being able to completely recharge and switch off. But don't worry, we'll be taking care of you. We'll have somebody take you to the airport so that you don't have to drive. We'll have somebody that will take care of all of your needs within the airport so that you can put your feet back, kick your feet back, relax and chill out. Did you hear the difference then? Who wants holiday A and who wants holiday B? I mean, Amisha's saying, yeah, that first one was horrible. I agree. And this is what we sometimes do in our business. So, how to talk about your business in an outcome-based way. Here's what I suggest. Take those phone calls, take those checklists, take those sheets, take the 3 days in a lovely environment for if you're doing a retreat or a workshop or an event. Take you will learn how to do these pieces, and seriously, give yourself the gift of between 30 minutes to an hour to write down the things that you have created to make this course, workshop, program, retreat possible. Write down the nuts and bolts, the nitty gritty of templates and things that they will get on separate lines. Then next door to it, write down the outcome. What a person can expect as a result of that. So, for example, on the 5-week online training program, this is about raising your visibility both on camera and online, so that you can stand out on Facebook Lives, you can stand out when you do your videos, you can create content for those, and maybe you want to use them to create webinars or live streams. That's what the course is about. Now, rather than me telling you that you'll get templates, videos, and an accountability and Q&A call, I'd rather let you know that there are going to be templates and checklists made available for you so that you can make sure that you're going step by step and you're not missing anything out as you create your own online product or service. You might even say something like, on the worksheet, it will give you the ability to be able to create not only this program or event or workshop this time round, but once you finish the 5 weeks, you'll be able to go back again independently without the need for buying another course or going on another program. You'll be able to rinse and repeat this over and over again as many times as you need, because you'll have the outlines, the templates and the checklist to take you from A to B to C. Does that make sense? What about if I was to tell you that the videos are shot in short, sweet chunks, which means that you can watch a video, then go off and implement the thing that is shared in the video. And of course, any time that you need to come back to that video, you can re-watch it again, and then you can go on to the next piece. And the accountability calls are really there for you, because every week when I send out these videos, there'll be a point where I really encourage you to implement it. But what if you get stuck? Well, you have 2 choices. You can either respond to the email that gets sent out and say, help, I need some help in implementing this, or I'm stuck, or Jenny, what would I do? If I want to do this, what can I do? And you can get help. And on every Friday, with the Q&A and accountability call, you'll be able to rock up and say, this is what I want to do the end of this week or into next week, and be able to be held lovingly accountable by the group of people there. You'll be able to ask your questions, your how-tos, how specifically will I do this? What's the exact thing that I should do from here? And those calls will be recorded so you can listen to them again and again. And if for whatever reason you can't make the call, no worries. Can you see how different it sounds to talk about stuff like that? Now, Namisha has said that she tends to explore the hell of the situation that the client would be in before they work with you, and the heaven where they would be. That's a really great analogy and a really great way of putting it. So the outcome they can expect working with you, and I get that. One thing that I have found in my years of doing this is that often I know you can do it, but if you're the person that's going through and doing something that you might not have done before, or you've deemed that you haven't done it well enough before, then you might not think you can do it. So the whole reason to talk in that outcome language And take them from the hell of the situation to the heaven, as Namisha says, is to let them know what they can expect in between, how they can progress, how they can grow, and most importantly, how they can do it too. So hopefully that makes sense. If you've got any questions on that, please fire them down below in the comments there. So the next thing that I want to talk about is how you can highlight your event, i.e. to let people know. Well, you know, in the visibility on camera and online, it isn't just about doing this stuff and what to say to camera, it's how to put it out there. So I've made sure that I've incorporated how you can highlight what you're doing. So here's a little share from that 5-week program. So it could be that because you're doing this online, you want people to know about it. So you might have an email list, or you might have a connection with people maybe in Facebook groups or LinkedIn groups. You could be connected to people on either of those platforms, you know, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, your Facebook page, your private profile. There are some really great ways of sharing and highlighting what you're doing. There's also some really bad ways that people do it. In fact, you know, I've seen in the last week various posts from about 4 or 5 different people where they friended somebody on Facebook, and before they know it, that person's taken their name and their reputation and blasted it all over Facebook without their permission. So there are some ways to avoid doing this, and we do it in good faith. And ironically, the way that you would do it on Facebook is quite different to the way that you would do it on LinkedIn. Not just because of the professional profile or persona, just because the platforms support that sharing and that highlighting in different ways. So one of the things to be aware of is when you're highlighting your event, whether it's online or offline, you need to let people know. And they say that you need to have between 7 to 9 touches. Now, what does that mean? That means that it would be really, really prudent to at least mention the event 7 to 9 times. I hear you cry. Oh my gosh, I can't do that. It's too much. People will get sick of me. They won't like me. They'll unfriend me. No, they won't. Because quite often, and I remember in 2014, I ran a one-day workshop live in London, 30 people in the room. It was juicy. It was yummy. And do you know how many people after the event said things like, oh, I saw your pictures on Facebook. I didn't even know you were doing that. I would love to have come. I didn't know anything about it. You know, and I'd sent emails out to my list. I'd put a few posts out on social media, and I told people that I was networking with, but actually I didn't hit that 7 to 9 touches. So before you run shrieking for the hills and, oh my gosh, I can't possibly share this, remember that, you know, people's lives are busy. They might not be sitting on Facebook, you know, 24 hours a day. They could genuinely miss a post. So by highlighting what you're doing between 7 to 9 times, that's helpful. Now, for those of you that are saying, yeah, but, you know, for example, I've got a book, I want to let more people know about my book, I want to highlight it. Yes, you can do that online. But if you are maybe a networker, maybe you belong to a networking group, maybe you don't yet and you're sussing it out. There's things like Meetup, for goodness sakes, you know. Have a look at Meetup groups that you would enjoy, that they might enjoy. Have a look at the sorts of subjects that would be aligned. So if you're, like I know we've got a love coach on here. If you're a love coach and you've written a book about coaching, you've written a book about love, then why not look for dating groups to join? Go and, you know, mix and mingle with them. Look at groups for other authors. Go and mix and mingle with them. Look at the audience that you have written that book for. Go mix, mingle with them. Now, I know a lot of you are saying, oh, money's tight, things are hard at the moment, but a lot of meetup groups are very, very, very low investment to join. So for as little as free sometimes, or maybe £2 or £3 or £5, you can go along and you have an audience. And here's what I recommend. Listen to what people are needing. Listen to what people are asking for. Hi, Alison. And listen to what people really want. And then perhaps go and let them know that actually I can help with this because I've written a book on so-and-so, for example. So then the last point that I want to make, and I'm just going to do a time check. Excellent. The last point that I want to make is how you share it. Now, specifically online, it's so much better when other people share your work than it is for you. Why? A, because when you put something out there, when you share it, you share it. When somebody else shares it, they see a value to it and they want to share it. Now, take Facebook, for example. They have the algorithms, and I'm not going to go into the specifics of what algorithms are, but basically it's a way that controls what's seen by your audience, or the audience that you're trying to get to. Now, when you've got, say, a business page, and you share something that you've posted on your business page into a group, onto your profile or elsewhere, the algorithms know that it's you that's sharing your own stuff. So deem that it's, let's push that down a bit, because people aren't sharing that stuff. It's just that person. When somebody else looks at it and shares it, then, or comments on it or likes it or anything else, then that's when it's highlighted that, oh, there's a bit of interest in this. Let's push it up a bit, because if people are interested in liking and sharing and commenting on this, then let's get it out there to more people. Let's get it in front of people's eyes, so to speak. So speaking of sharing, one thing that would help me immensely, thank you for being a part of the Visibility Vibes tribe. My only aim here is for you guys to get lots of juicy, content-rich information that helps you to stand out in whatever you do. Whether you have your own business, whether you're thinking about it, whether you're an employee. I know that there's about 40% of you in this group who work for a living. Yet find the tips and techniques that are shared within this group really handy. So who do you know who could do with a bit of a boost? Who do you know that could do with hearing tips like this? If you have 1 or 2 friends in your community, your peers and people that you love, please invite them to join this group, because I'd love to be able to get the message out there. And as we approach the end of July, I'd like to just get this group to just over the 200 mark, so that you guys have got a bigger, juicier community that you can all share within. I'd really love that for that to happen. And also, in the background, I've been cooking up some really yummy free gifts for you. And I want to start to release those to you next week as a way of saying thank you for joining the community. So as long as you stay active on this page, let us know you're here. I will be sharing that information with you and letting you know how you can get that. And that information really shows you how you can be ultra visible, not only online, but offline, with some really eye-catching bits and pieces that I know that you're going to love. I literally created them with you all in mind. So if you know of somebody that is running a business, thinking of running a business, they're an author, they're a consultant, they're a coach, and they could do with a community of like-minded people that cheer them on. This is a community. It's not a cult or anything like that. This is a community of people who are really yummy, really want to see your best interest at heart. So if that's you and you know at least one other person or maybe 3 others, invite them to join and get them to introduce themselves in the group. So other ways that you can share what you do. Now, this is something that worked for me, and I almost feel a bit embarrassed to say this, but I say this because if I share it with you, it lets you know that I am nothing special and that you can do this too. So in 2014, in my business that was making, little figures and stuff like that, I actually, for the first time in 2014, not once but twice actually, hit over 5 figures in my business. And why do I tell you that? Like I say, it feels a bit cringeworthy for me to say that to you, but the reason I share it with you is because I want you to know the possibility that you are absolutely capable of. And I was reflecting on those 2 particular months where I went over the 5-figure mark, so over £10,000 in income. I thought, well, what was different about what I shared and how I shared it then? So I'm going to hone down in how you can share. This is just one quick and easy way in which you can share things when you're not doing it online. So I remember being particularly excited. It was the first time at the back end of 2013 that I realised that visibility and the ability to be seen, to be heard, to be noticed had such a huge impact for people. And I wanted to make sure that I was spreading my ripples far and wide so that people could get out there, be seen, be heard, be noticed, and importantly, be remembered. So what I did was I made sure that any time I was out and about networking, any time I was interacting with anybody in the flesh, it was like the one thing on my mind was, how can I help this person to stand out? I kid you not, I'd go to the supermarket, I'd be at the checkout, chatting to the checkout lady, and she'd say, you know, like, what do you do for a living? Or, oh, you know, I remember buying about 20 bars of chocolate. I was actually making some chocolates. So as we started conversations, she would ask me things like, oh, what do you do with the chocolate and stuff like that? And I would tell her, and I'd say, I'm really excited because in a few months' time, I'm going to be hosting this workshop, and it's all about helping people to stand out. You know, at work, how sometimes you go for your appraisal, you don't feel like you're being heard, so you ultimately might not get a pay rise or the appraisal grading that you want. I help give people loads of tips and things like that. Now, there's two things that I did inadvertently in that conversation. One was I talked about the outcome, and I made it relevant for the person I was speaking to. There's no point me speaking to somebody on a supermarket checkout about growing their business or you know, getting out there online, because it's not relevant to them. But what is relevant to that person is, you know, getting a good appraisal, being recognised for the work they do, the kinds of conversations to have with their line manager. So I invite you, when you are sharing, the final point that, or tip I'm going to leave you with is, when you're sharing your stuff, let people know the benefit that it has to them and make it relevant to the person you're speaking to. You don't have to have a 60-second elevator pitch which you stick to rigidly. That 60-second pitch can vary depending on your audience. So that's point number one of that share. Point number two was, I focused on one thing and one thing in mind. So anybody that spoke to me between like November 2013 and I think up until March 2014, it was all about visibility, all about that vibe, what comes from inside, how you are so that you're able to be visible, and the excitement of this one-day workshop. So even when people were speaking to me about working with me over a, you know, kind of more personally one-to-one, which was a much higher investment to work with me, I had people that gladly signed up, hence me being able to make that money in that particular month. But I also had people that really wanted to, but it wasn't right for them yet. So I was able to offer them an alternative. And in fact, for some of those people that I had those phone calls with, I was able to contact them and say, look, you know we had the conversation about working one-to-one, and for whatever reason it wasn't right for you. I do have a workshop, and if you enjoy workshops, you'll get to meet other business owners, you know, network, build a community, and be able to go through how to make yourself visible, how to make an impact, being able to biographically speak about what you do, balancing it all without the overwhelm, and to be able to, you know, speak to people and sell what you do with confidence. Does that sound like something that's great? Oh, and by the way, we're still on the early bird to join. So if this is for you, great. If it's not, that's fine. I just wanted you to know. There was no stuff around the offer that I was making. So it was all about inviting people in that really transparent way. So quick recap. If you have a problem about how to talk about what you're doing, specifically the words to say, or how to highlight these things, how to let people know, how many times to let people know, and then how to share it, both online and offline, go back to the start of this video. More importantly, I want you to be able to spread your ripples far and wide out there, and I don't want you to be overwhelmed. So if you are a newbie, if you are a novice at doing this, then I'd invite you just to take one of the things that I've suggested that really, really resonated with you. You know, you felt it in your core and you thought, yeah, I can see myself doing that. Pick that one thing and just do that first. Then come back to this video, rewatch it, go for the next theme. If you are an absolute expert and you've done this time and time again, I know that some of you, even on this call, kind of do this for other people too. If that's you, then look at how you can do things differently. That's something I've certainly been looking at in the last few weeks. You know, many of you would have heard of the decluttering story. If you haven't, go over to the not the Queen of Being Seen page, the Jenny Kovacs speaker coach trainer page, which is facebook.com/Jenny Make It Happen. You'll see on Monday I did a 22-minute Monday motivation about decluttering, where I actually gave you some tips on things you could do every day. One little thing you could do every day to get you started. I tell you, the results of that have been immense, have been absolutely amazing. So I wanted to share that with you guys too. If you're happy to watch these videos and join in on the Visibility Vibe Tribe and encourage other people in here, that's really cool too. And if you are interested in raising your online visibility on camera but also online, then I'll put a link underneath this video a little later on where you can have a look for yourself. It's not too late to join. The first videos only went out on Monday, so there's no catching up to do, because it will be able to guide you through what we're going to cover and how we're going to do it. I look forward to seeing you online, offline, in this group and otherwise. Thank you from my heart to yours. Now go forth and be visible, because people matter. Those people are you. Bye for now.